Good evening and welcome to Cocktails and Comics. I am your host, Jimmy the Geek Aficionado, and with me tonight is Longbox Love Affair. How are you, sir?
Doing well. It's the eve of Baltimore Comic Con, so I can't complain.
Yeah. So that's going to be a fun trip.
It will. I already have my list planned out and, trying to figure out which artist I'm going to hit the first day. So wish me luck.
Very cool. Yeah. So we are drinking Tito's and was it Tito's and soda or Tito's and tonic? I don't know.
Soda.
Tito's and soda tonight, as it is my guest's drink of preference.
And I have a feeling that you're not loving the bland taste there.
Actually, adding the extra lime did help it quite a bit, right? It kind of gives it more of a like a 7 Up with a kicker, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But not that Seagram's in 7 because that stuff is terrible. Oh my God, Seagram's is disgusting. I can't handle that. But yeah, no, it is a light, zesty, refreshing drink. I'll give you that. And I think it might actually be a summer staple for me going forward.
Okay. I'm glad to introduce you to something that is sort of basic, but hopefully a mainstay.
It definitely helps. It definitely works. I'm liking it. So you're going to Baltimore.
Yeah.
For the con. So tell me about that. What are you looking forward to?
Baltimore's a great con if anyone hasn't been to it. Not to be kind of spilling the secrets, but it's a big Comic Con. Whereas so I'm based in DC, and so there's a local big con that happens in DC that's very much pop culture. The last one I went to was 5 or 6 vendors that did comics. So yeah. Baltimore gets a lot of talent. I mean, this year the main guest is Brian K. Vaughan, and then Joe Quesada.
Yeah. Oh, so we can segue into a little bit of Brian K. Vaughan. Am I correct in remembering that he's the one that did Why the Last Man?
He did.
What a shambles with that.
I kept falling asleep. I couldn't get through it. And so now I don't even think I need to watch the rest because they've canceled it.
So there's 7 episodes in, and I watched 6 with my wife, right? Because I got her into it because it's a very unique storyline. I had read the first hardcover, and then I gave it to my daughter, and she was enjoying it as well. But the problem for me is that I was unable to find the volume 2 hardcover, and I didn't want to switch up to trade. So it's like out of print, and I'm like I'm struggling with getting it. So eventually one of these days will pick it up and keep reading. But what I did note is that what a staunch redirection from the actual comics, right? Almost nothing that's going on in the show except for landing in the town, is actually in the comics. And then the main girl who finds him in the garbage truck, in the second issue, she's not even in the show.
Right.
They completely wrote her out. And she, as I understand it, she actually plays a relatively significant role through the rest of the book. Is that true?
So I reread the whole series in anticipation for the premiere, and if I'm remembering correctly, she's really only in a couple issues. So I'm actually not surprised that they cut her out. She appears later towards the end, but I don't think she has a major role.
Okay.
But you're right, it is a departure. I was surprised it wasn't as a little bit more to the source material, although some of it is really kind of far-fetched, with ninjas and some other stuff going on that could not maybe lend itself well to practicality, the real world type of scenarios.
That may actually be the case. Yeah. So I'm hopeful that they will actually pick it back up. I mean, I'd like to at least see the last 3 episodes that have already been filmed, but we're in production, and hope that they can, kind of maybe learn from this dry run and put some effort towards maybe correcting the ship on that, because I wanted to enjoy it, and I'm just like, I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed Murders in the Building a lot more than this.
Watch that.
I see it. Oh yeah, it's good. Steve Martin and Martin Short, classic team up. So they're very good. Obviously not comic related, but not everything can be, right?
Well, with why, I mean, if this says anything, I never fall asleep during shows, or rarely, I should say. And I slept through an hour and a half. It just cycled through one to another, and I slept through it. So either I was exhausted from work and just couldn't deal, or it really put me to sleep.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So the last thing I fell asleep in was Batman versus Superman, and with good reason. Yeah, because
Long time ago.
that movie was god awful. We got some people in the chat here. Ben Compton, how are you today, sir? TJ's in the middle of watching my other post and now this. So we can talk about that in a second. And then Captain Comics, how are you? We're drinking Tito's and soda with lime. That is our drink of choice for the evening. So yeah, I don't know if you subscribe to my channel or not. And I'm not going to fault you if you don't. But have you seen any of my posts or the recent video about my Grail run?
I've seen posts. I haven't seen the videos.
Okay, yeah. So we did a starter video with me and Man Cave Comics talking about it and everything and showing what I've already gotten so far. Good evening, Chris Barrett. How are you? So I've got another video. Actually, I've got two videos primed. One is actually how I went about actually getting those two books and what I did. What I had to excise from my own collection and sell to get the capital to purchase them. But it's a fun exercise, and it really kind of helps you really kind of think more about your collecting habits and like what's important and what's not.
Yeah.
So and I've seen that from a lot of your videos. It's like you very narrow focus on a number of things. Like I'm going to go after this. That's what I'm going after.
It's hard. I mean, I definitely have my moments where I go off the rails and I just buy pure cover buys or something that I'm trying to spec on or what have you. But
right.
Yeah, trying to have that focus. So I'm thinking of Baltimore Comic Con. It's like, what do I want to buy there? And I have one book in mind, and it's a book that I need to check my bank account and make sure I don't overdraft on. And do I think I'm going to buy it this weekend? No. But there's some other, secondary books that I just have in the back of my mind that if I see them and I see it for a decent price, I'll probably pick them up.
Well, that's excellent. Do you feel like sharing what that book is, or you don't want to jinx it?
You're getting the exclusive. So there's only one Spider-Man book I need, and it's Amazing Fantasy 15. And of course, when I get to the point where I'm ready to buy it, it skyrockets.
Oh, I know, right? It's getting ridiculous out there.
So do I think I'm going to buy it this weekend? No. But I'm definitely window shopping for it. There's some lower issue still Fantastic Four that I'm keeping my eye out for.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see some of those, I might bite the bullet, but it's all about the right time, the right price type of situation. Yeah. I'm not going to force it.
I hear you. I completely hear you. I'm having the same challenge. Those two titles are like the two ones that I'm still kind of like still trying to pick out, a handful of issues on. Spider-Man, it's 1, 2, 3, and 5. And I was trying to go after 2 and 5 because those seem to be like the lesser ones, and I wind up actually running into 1 and 3 more than I do 2 and 5. And then people want really just dumb money for this stuff. It's ridiculous. Like 400% increases over last year on raw books, and they want raw books for graded prices. And I just don't fly with that. And the same issue is with Fantastic Four. It's 1 through 6 and 12.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I have a hard time biting the bullet when you know that 3 months ago you could have bought it for 20%, 30%, 50% less.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that's what happened with me with Daredevil 1. I don't have Daredevil 1. I was thinking about buying it, and then they jumped up. And it's just like, okay, I have other books that I got good deals on, and it's like I have to just be okay with that. Like I got.
If you strike out on the AF-15, actually Daredevil #1 is not a bad book to bargain hunt on. It's in free fall, so like the hype with Charlie Cox joining the Spider-Man cast is I think what really drove that book's price up.
Yeah,
but I think it's definitely trended down. I know that much. I had an opportunity. Yeah, I had an opportunity to pick up a copy, and I was like, that was nicer than mine, and I'm like, no, it's really coming down, so I don't want to pay that price.
Yeah, well, that's good for those that don't have it.
Exactly, right? Because it ballooned up. It was like 800% over, normal market because, that wasn't a book that people were really after, even, with the success of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I was lucky that I ended up buying. So I have a Hulk 181 that's a 7.5. I bought that years ago. And then through the same seller on Instagram, they had 180 and 182 at also a 7.5. And I had told myself not too long before that I was like, it'd be cool to upgrade my books to get a 7.5 in all 3 of those.
Yeah.
And so they had those books, and I paid $1,000 for the 2, the 180 and 182. And now you can't even buy a 180 for that price. And I just, you win some, you lose some. And I won some there, and then the price has skyrocketed. So you can't buy everything. I just have to remind myself that.
This is true, right? But we can definitely try.
We can try.
We can definitely
try this weekend.
Exactly. So what's on your secondary list?
Well, so frankly, the one I really want from the FF run, I think, is number 4. Is that the one with Namor?
Yeah, the Submariner Silver Age appearance.
And I've just always liked that cover. I don't have number 1, 2, or 3, but number 4 is such a cool cover, and it reintroduces him as a character that it would be a fun one to have. And then I just have a random smattering of other books I'm looking for. Nothing crazy.
I get you. I was at Wizard World, and I didn't know what I was looking for, and I wound up picking up a healthy stack of Dave Stevens covers, right? Some of the more esoteric, harder to find ones, which was great.
Yeah.
That 3D Zone though, that just sold it for like a 9.8 for like $1,000 at auction, sadly wasn't there. That Space Vixens cover. Yeah. So that one's still on the hunt list, but yeah, just stuff like that. And I kind of did the same thing when I went to MegaCon. As I actually had intended to either like hunt up like a couple of like older books that I was needing, like some like early Thors or Fantastic Four, Tales to Astonish and Suspense, stuff like that. But nobody really had anything that I was that I needed. And the other side of that was I was going to hunt up some stuff in Artist Alley, and I never even made it to Artist Alley. And I'm thinking there was only like less than a dozen comic vendors, and I still came out with a stack this big.
Yeah.
I had to release a 2-part video series on it. Like one was just like all the hot covers that I got, because I got some great stuff. And it's just dealers I've never dealt with before. Yeah. And then one of them that I did deal with quite a bit actually came out to Wizard World. I wound up buying more stuff from them. So that worked out pretty well. But yeah, you never know what you're going to get when you walk into a con. You can have all the plans in the world, and you may just, unless you're like laser focused, it could all just fall apart as soon as you hit that first booth.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could fill up that backpack really quick, and you just have to be super careful. In fact, a buddy of mine that's local, a YouTuber, Rag718, he was talking about a con he went to, or New York Comic Con, and the $5 bins that you could have pulled everything filled his stuff up and then gone home for that day with just that one booth. So you just need to use some discretion, because I'm traveling an hour to here and on the train, so I'm not going to be carrying stacks and stacks of things. I just have to be very careful with what I want to bring back with me. True.
So now, are you going all cash on that FF? Or are you bringing like some trade currency?
I have no trade that I'm awful at trades. I like I never want to get rid of anything. If I do anything else, I'll try to sell something, but I'm just awful at trades. So it would be all cash or credit, and really trying to figure out how to make it work.
Hey, I hear you. But just remember, it's not the last show, right? So if you strike out of Baltimore, if you spot one, you eye one, you can always take a little trip over here at C2E to
Well, I have to remind myself, I'm in my early 40s, so I was like, there's always time to get these books. Like,
exactly, right? We're in no different position. Yeah.
Hopefully there's time. I mean, hopefully.
Well, so we're not going to say anything. We're not going to jinx anything.
Don't go there.
No, yeah. We got Comics for Thomas in the chat, just as a little podcast. Looks like Chris struck out with the guess. Yeah, no, it was not an All-Star 8. It was actually an AF-15, which, I mean, hey, absolutely, 100%. If you have the means and the gumption to do it, absolutely. Go after those big books. I mean, that's kind of what I've been, working at.
Well, I think you especially with like a book like AF-15, you have the means at a certain grade, and then when stuff happens, that grade drops with what I can afford.
It totally does.
Yeah. It's just, but I've always subscribed to the notion of, anything is better than nothing. And I just want a presentable copy. It doesn't have to be bells and whistles, beautiful, near mint.
Exactly. So my wife is here, so I'm making her a cocktail, so we get to see a little action here. But yeah, I mean, and I've never been a problem having the low grades better than no grade, kind of scenario. So I'll take a 1.5 any day of the week.
Especially if it's a book like that. I mean, I'm just thankful to have that regardless. Yes, I'd love a bigger grade, of course, but it's not everyone can have these books, and there's only so many printed, and they're pricey. So
yeah, I mean, that really bad marble paper that they had back in the day,
right.
it just, the chipping, the pieces fall out, it just gets brittle with age, and books like that nobody really took care of very well.
Yeah. You're making the same drink.
Yeah. This is what we do. We pick a drink and we stick with it.
Awesome.
So that way we can try different stuff. Here you go, sweetie. You were welcome.
And I find that this drink gets better the more it gets watered down. Like it just kind of mixes itself a little bit better.
It does. And so I doubled up on the lime because I learned that it's a little bland without the lime. But still good.
I look for old fashions.
Old fashions? All right. We got to find a whiskey drinker.
Yeah. I've never been good at making any of those. I don't touch making them. I have to go to a place to make them.
That's one of the reasons why I started doing this is that I am never been a good bartender. And I don't try a lot of different stuff. And I wanted to kind of get out there and just start doing different things. And just working through that.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. So it's Wonder Woman Day.
Yeah, right? I pulled out my shirt.
Yeah, there you go. And Chris would rather have the All-Star 8. I can appreciate that, Chris. What would we have here? Is it a 1.5 AF-15 is what, $1 million book?
It better not be because I'm just gonna go home now.
Was it the 9.6 was $3.6 million or something like that? Something crazy. And they're like, oh, it outsold Action Comics #1. I said, yeah, in a 5.5. Or something like a lower grade. I'm like, yeah, if it was a 9.6 Action Comics #1, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But it is the highest selling at that time. So I get that. Right. But I bought some books off of you.
I can't believe you haven't opened those.
I haven't even opened it yet. No, there's like another stack of books over there. Like I just, I have it for these shows, right? So, but yeah, I bought some Wonder Woman books from you.
So these are just a little bit of background. Speaking of kind of flipping books or what have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are my friend's books that I've been helping him sell his storage unit, and we just sold everything. We finally. Oh, yeah? There were about 24 boxes left. A lot of them were like dollar books or things that were just not worth me putting on eBay or trying to sell because it would just take forever. And he just wanted to get rid of the storage unit, and I said, let's just sell them in bulk. And there's a dealer that I know locally who was interested, and there are a lot of people interested, but I wanted to go to this dealer who was, I have a relationship with.
This is just padding, right?
Oh, it should be, I guess. I don't even remember.
Anyway, so you got a local dealer?
Yeah. So so everything's sold, but this is from my friend's personal collection. So basically, he read the books. I assume he read them, and he stored them away, and they sat in storage for as long as they existed. So it was time to have him move on. He's been talking about getting rid of the storage unit for years and years, and he just never bit the bullet with me. So I said, he reached out to me in the pandemic, and we made it happen. So it took a year. I started last October.
Wow. Yeah, I remember some of the earlier videos of that. You were showing the storage unit and everything.
Yep.
So I'm glad I got something out of it.
Yeah.
Help him out.
And they're cool books, if I remember.
They are very cool books. Chris says, I like my alcohol like I like everything else, simple. Hence, I drink Budweiser because it's simple. Well, you're also in college, too, so we're not going to fault you on that.
At least it's not the beast beer like they have in the college.
Yeah, well, we had Old Milwaukee's when I was in college, and Keystone Ice.
Mm-hmm.
TS Comics is here. JP's Budget Collect popping in. So we are drinking Tito's and soda with a twist of lime. And we are going to open up this box. finally.
Well, I'm glad it got there in one piece. You never know with the post office.
No kidding. Lately, they have been horrible. Actually, JP's Budget Collecting can tell you a horror story. We just sent his books off to CGC, and as well as I packaged it, they were still able to crush one entire corner to the point that CGC had to call him up during the check-in process and go, yeah, so not looking so hot. And when I say call him up, I mean like they got a hold of him and like they shouldn't have even gotten to his package yet in their time frame it takes to open things. But so it clearly must have been like an obvious, just crush. And it's got so far as to damage, I think, 6 books. So a couple of them we don't think are going to be salvageable, but they're coming back to him. He's going to look them over, and then they'll come back to me. And
that's
I told him, I'm like, you know what? I'll repress them for free. Just send them back and let's see what we can get out of it. So, well, I did Southern Comfort when I was a teenager. Yeah, that's awesome.
I had a situation where I was, again, with my buddy's books. I sold a package of them, and so I sent them off. And the guy messaged me on eBay. He's like, I don't think this is what I was supposed to get. And so the post office basically damaged the books or the package and sent him a blouse, a leopard print blouse. So somehow the books got separated from the box. And so someone's got his comics and he got their blouse. I was like, I didn't send you a blouse. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it looks like something.
I just funny. You refund the guy. I was like, I not my fault. Obviously, it's not my fault, but it's no.
I don't know how to help you on this. Here's your money back. Thanks for the story. All right. So we did get some books in a very fair price. I will definitely say. And these were the last ones I needed to complete. Well, except for one that I got recently. But these are the last ones I needed to complete my Adam Hughes Wonder Woman run. So this is issue 157. He really is a master of stuff because, I mean, look, there's like a silhouette of a fight going on in her hair.
I don't even know if I noticed that when I was packaging this up.
Crazy.
That's great.
Wonder Girl and somebody else. Yeah, he just does a fantastic job. And then we've got 169. It's a second part of a story, Paradise Island Lost.
And some of this run of his is super pricey. Some of these books are coveted by people.
I just picked up a 150 finally that's a 98 candidate because I wanted to have it with my statue. I got that beautiful statue, and it's like the size of it, like compared to the other ones, the other statues next to it, it's perfect because it really shows that she's a bit larger in stature, in height and in her build and everything. It's a perfect statue. It really is. Magic Lasso in the chat. Yes, we have Wonder Woman.
I was wondering when he'd pop in here.
Right, Wonder Woman and Lasso appears. So we've got 196. This is a cool one. It's got her in color, and then all of the press agents people wanting her to sign her autobiography or something like that. Yeah,
I like how it's all black and white basically, and except for her.
And not just using a black and white pencil, but using like a red outline on it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This one's interesting. Not your typical Adam Hughes work. This is issue 160 with her covered in clay, which is actually a really cool cover when you think about it, because the original origin of Wonder Woman is that she was made from clay by Queen Hippolyta, and it was, I believe, Zeus that gave her life. So having her covered in clay and having a clay face issue, very cool. Little throwback.
You're thinking really deeply here.
I have a tendency to do that sometimes. And then last but not least, this is issue number 158 with Wonder Woman fighting Wonder Girl. So great work. Legendary Adam Hughes. So happy to get these finally and be able to put that put that series to bed. Because funny story, I had some of these and a bunch of others that I had bought from. It was the Big To Do. It's what's his name? Lords of the Longbox, Tebow's LCS, and they were doing a claim sale during COVID shutdown. And I had gotten all these issues, and I had got them mixed up with a set of duplicates that I had, and I took them and I sold them. And I was like, wait, these are my duplicates. And I'm like, no. So I'm happy to have been able to rectify that mistake.
Those are those moments where you're like, what the heck did I just do? But you fixed it.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I don't like about Hughes' Wonder Woman is the way he draws her boots. They look like sloppy socks. Okay.
Well, Lasso, I don't think you saw my shirt, so I'll show it again.
There you go. Oh.
Oh, gosh.
Lasso says it's been an amazing day. That's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. So you said you're going to do the full 3 days of Baltimore, or you like, if you find the AF 15-day one, you're like, I'm out. I'm running home.
I have to go back Saturday regardless, because that's the Quesada signing, the Joe Quesada signing, and I already bought tickets, which include getting three things signed by him. So
very cool. What do you have in signed?
So a lot of what I get signed is nostalgia. They're books that I think are really fun that are for me. I'm not getting books signed for anyone else. So Batman Sword of Azrael.
Okay.
Just love that book.
First Azrael, yeah.
And then House of M #1, the Quesada variant where Wanda is pixelating out.
Oh, was that from issue 1? Yeah,
that's issue 1. And then I'm going to have signed Nova #1, which is he did a variant cover for that during the Marvel Now phase. And I just really kind of love that cover. I thought about getting the Venom 1 cover that he did with like Venom stomping on the logo, but that got eked out by the Nova.
That makes sense. Yeah.
What I really want, and so these could change depending on if I find something at the con tomorrow. Would love to find the Age of Ultron #10, the Angela variant that he did.
Oh, that's a great cover too.
It's super pricey online. I've followed some auctions, and it's like a $200 to $500 book depending on how you're getting it.
Raw or graded?
Well, I think it's cheaper if it's ungraded.
Yeah.
And it's usually like $400 or $500, I think, if it's graded at a 9.8. There's very few out there, so I'm going to keep my eye open. If I see it, great. If I don't, that's okay.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a crazy book. So I got to tell you, if it was for me for a Quesada signing, I definitely would have to do that Daredevil #1 that he did with Kevin Smith, with the whip around from his Billy Club. Oh, yep. It's so cool. And I loved that when they actually did the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, that there was a scene that they had that, where it's like he fired off the from the Billy Club, and it was like kind of whipping all over the place. It was very cool that they added that in there. A lot of really good imagery in that movie, even though it didn't go over so well.
I have to rewatch that. It's probably about time to rewatch it. So the Daredevil was a consideration for me. Actually, I was thinking of the Daredevil, I think it's issue #7 or 8, where he's on its profile of him and Spider-Man looking out. It's that same run. But because I'm such a Spider-Man geek, that I kind of wanted something with Spidey in it. But
that makes sense. I can see that. All right, so I actually have to pull this up now because you said it was 7?
7 or 8, I think.
7, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a cool cover.
It's a good cover. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, that is very.
It's actually
cool.
on my floor in the other room. I was originally, I start off with a pile of books that I think I want to get signed, and then I have to whittle that pile down because it costs money.
It does. Oh my god! So the first time that I did signings at C2E2, I think I wound up. I brought like a stack of books, and I was just going signing crazy, And I was like, okay, I really need to slow down because this gets really expensive after a bit, right? Like I only did one Neil Adams book, and then there was an unfortunate incident with him in that book at the time that he signed it, and it got damaged. And I recently sold that book in order to fund something else. And I was like, I have a nicer copy. I could always get him to sign it again. And this time I'm going to use a window bag because I learned my lesson.
What did he do to it?
He was handing it back to me. He was turning the book around and handing it back to me. And he coughed and his thumb split the top edge of the cover. And I was just like, and I watched it all happen with the facilitator next to me. And I'm like, just because it went from a 9.0 to an 8.5, and like with a $50 signature, I just lost $200 on that book.
Well, I was in Colorado Comic Con years ago, and I was at the CGC booth getting work done, filling out the forms, and this guy comes up to the worker next to him and tries to get his Neil Adams books figured out, and the guy's like, "Did you get a witness for this?" He's like, "No, I just got them signed. I'm coming here to get them graded." And the guy was expecting to get them verified or what have you, but that's not the way they roll. So this guy was pissed.
That's funny because that's kind of what happened to me my first time out. I had a couple of really nice copies of Batman 232 and 251 that I'd gotten, and I took them and I was like, I'm going to have Neil sign them. And I had no knowledge of grading at the time. I had no knowledge of signature series and like that. And it was Neil. He goes, "These are really nice looking copies. You might want to think about getting these graded." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I had him sign them, paid my money. But he didn't say anything about getting a witness or and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I walked up to the CGC booth and handed them over. And then they came back and my wife is like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, well, one got a bad grade, or a grade I didn't think it deserved, which shocker, right? Like we got a grade we didn't like." But, I come to find out later why that was. And then the other one had a green label on it. And I was like, "Oh," and, didn't really, occur to me what that was for, but it was because name on cover in ink, and it wasn't going to be, getting that signature series. So I'm going to be cracking them out, pressing them, and then probably sending them to CBCS.
Yeah, I was going to say that I love that they do that now. I haven't used that service, but yeah.
Which brings us to the question you posed on your Instagram. Do you go witness through a facilitator, or you go direct to CBCS? And what's your thought on that?
There's pros and cons to both, and I think I might be doing a little double teaming this weekend with CBCS and with CGC. So I don't love using a facilitator because I've done that before, and you pay extra for the facilitator, and then you're paying the CGC fees. So I'm not sure I want to do that. Although, part of me is just saying, F it, get things signed and then take it to CBCS and have them verify the signature. So I don't have to keep on going back and forth.
Yeah.
Because they have that option. That might be something I think about. I'm not sure. I mean, I like the slabs for CBCS because they're thinner. And as I get more and more slabs, I like to have a little bit more room in my closet. But
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, but CGC is what I have most of my books in. So
I am brand recognition or a particular line that you want to continue forward with. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and so time will tell, but I think CBCS might be easier to work with. I have no interest in waiting in line and going back and forth with the facilitator if they're going to be limited in what they can do. So we'll see. I mean, they might be completely swamped, or they might have a lot of availability.
Yeah, the challenge with facilitators are great, right? It's a great service. When I go and, because I have a pressing business, and when there's a convention coming up and, CGC is going to be on site for submissions, I will offer facilitation. And, it's a nice little, added, cash, right? Because you're standing in line, right? You're using your time in your day rather than somebody else doing it. I get it. But there's also facilitators that are there that you can just hand off a stack of books and go, "Hey, I want these signed by so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. And here's here's that." And you just pay them the upcharge.
Yeah.
Because, they'll get it done and then they'll send it under your account. You can fill out your forms and everything. And you don't have to worry about it. So
Yeah, there's definitely pros to that. And last Baltimore Comic Con 2 years ago, they did that with Jim Lee, so that they had a verified person that they weren't even doing. To my knowledge, they weren't doing representation at the actual signing. You had to drop the books off at the CGC booth, and I
Yeah.
actually like that. I've met Jim before. I don't feel like I need to be in line to chat him up or anything. So I gave them my 4 or 5 books. They dealt with it. I got them sent back.
I did the same thing with Chris Claremont a few years ago and
Yep.
had a number of my X-Men books signed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it worked out. It definitely did.
Yeah. To the point about jumping back to Neil Adams and damaging comics. I waited in line also at Baltimore for Jim Steranko, and he took my Captain America. Gosh, what is it? It's a white cover. I think it's 110 or something like that.
Yeah.
He did the cover, and he took it, lifted it, and threw it on the table. He's
the
like,
facilitator did that?
What?
The facilitator did that, or Steranko did?
Steranko.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, he's a guy, he's a character. He tells stories. He takes his time. He was being humorous about it because it was a better copy than he had, he said. And it came back a 9.0, which I'm thankful for. He didn't do any damage. It's not like he hit it on the corner. He hit it flat on the ground. But I was like, this is crazy.
Why would you do that?
and it wasn't window bagged. And I don't think... For some reason, I feel like he wasn't wanting the books window bagged. Like he has a thing against it.
Yeah, well, he can have a thing against it or not. It certainly prevents people screwing up your books, though.
Right, throwing them on the table.
Yeah. Just that one, slight angle of slip up, and then now it's a 8.5. I know that experience.
Yeah, crazy cons.
Too funny. Well, I know you had a time limit in mind because I know you're prepping for the show tomorrow, and I'm sure you have to catch an early train. So I don't want to hold you longer than you want to be here. So I thank you for popping on. Thank you again for the books and great packing job and everything, and making that a nice, easy transaction. And,
I'm glad they went to a good home. I know that you had reached out to me about them way in advance of me actually getting my act together to get them in front of you. So I appreciate your patience.
I think I hit you about your books, and then you were like, "Hey, no, I know a guy that's got some more of these." So that works.
It all worked out. But yeah, so I need to kind of re-strategize and figure out my Baltimore Comic Con strategy. So I get ready for that tomorrow morning. So I was glad to join this. I don't always do live shows. I feel like I have a better space in my place right now to do it rather than record just a regular haul video. So I was happy to get the invitation.
Absolutely. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. And have a great time in Baltimore.
Thank you. Well, good to see you. Thanks everyone for watching.
Absolutely. All right.